We were pretty famous back in high school. Trust us.
Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous. Yo.
What's up?
What are you drinking there, Mr. Sipper?
Little DC.
What is this, AON?
Little D Coke.
What is this nonsense?
What?
Hey, what are you drinking tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Slurp,
Fuck those guys.
Slurp, slurp. Mouth noises. Oh, this has a puny aftertaste.
I can taste the, what is that, mahogany?
Oh, it's very woody.
Yeah.
What a woody drink.
Sense a little bit of, what is that, Play-Doh? Very salty. This is a very salty drink. You know how you like it? You know how you like a salty drink?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
always. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. I'm
low
not picking that
alcohol
up
content.
as much.
Very low alcohol content.
Yeah, very low. You're drinking the DC. I'm drinking the CZS.
Oh,
as it were.
shit.
I know. We are similar, but worlds apart.
Yeah, that's zero sex appeal is what that stands for.
Yeah, they didn't go with, ZSA for some reason. They just went with ZS. It's easier.
Yeah.
They hyphenated what?
The SA.
The S and the A?
Yeah.
But
They
you
hyphenated
but
the
you just
word,
call it.
so therefore they just put the S when abbreviated.
I see. So the Z and S words are not hyphenated, but since S and A words are hyphenated,
And
you don't pronounce
IC
that
stands
letter.
for I can't understand. So you're still not getting it. Can't
said
understand are hyphenated.
Oh, I see.
No, you
Wait,
don't.
No, I don't.
I can tell that you still don't because you said IC again.
Well, this is scary. How close our beverages are. It's terrifying. It's scary.
A.S.M.R, which stands for
audio sensory. M.R.
Mr.
Something response. Mighty response.
Yes.
No, I don't. I knew at some point what it stood for, but I can't recall. Audio. Is it audio and sensory? Are those the first two? He may be writing it down. Oh, meridian response.
Oh,
is that right?
I honestly don't.
I didn't. I knew at some point again, but I don't. Oh, not that you don't know. All right. You asked what it stood for. You asked me.
I was just hoping
to tell you what it stood for.
Because I was hoping you would either just spout it out or come up with something that it wasn't.
Well, it's all hyphenated, so you just say A.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah.
You guys ready for some A?
Who wants some A? Who wants some? Who wants? Oops. Who wants some wild A content?
Yeah.
You want to see my A videos?
Let me turn up the gain on this microphone and give you some sweet A.
Yeah, that's the best way to hear it.
Mm-hmm. That high gain.
No
A with that high gain.
No gain, no pain. That's what they say in the A industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole industry.
Yeah, a whole industry. Like
it's a whole. Yeah, yeah. I mean, what's an A without a hole? What's a hole without an A?
A whole industry.
Yeah. Get it? Get it? Get it? Get it? Get it?
Oh, it's October still, and it's spooky.
Oh, it's scary this whole month. Leaves are falling from the trees.
By the way, welcome to High School Famous.
Yeah,
the podcast.
Welcome
that
aboard.
Just doesn't know what the fuck it's doing anymore.
The podcast whose ship has sailed.
Has it?
Well, that's what I said.
Sail
Welcome
anymore.
aboard. They sailboats do.
Yeah,
but
there's
I don't
not
know.
A ton of those
I mean,
left that are ships.
No, but you can go like to. I know Duluth has whatever their tall ship festival.
Yeah, they do that here
will
too.
Display tall ships that have sails.
Yeah.
I've not seen this myself, but I've heard tale of it.
Mm-hmm. You've heard tale of
I've heard
sail?
tell of it. Yeah. I've also heard tale of the hole and the A. Well, let's jump into some non-terrifying
joke.
Dad joke before we jump into anything real here. I will start off by saying this was a particularly difficult week.
We've had a few of those.
These jokes, not a single one was anywhere closely resembling strong. So I had to just sort of pick the least worst of the worst.
Did they at least resemble jokes? Were they at least
I don't think so.
In a way that like you could tell?
Well, some of these jokes, typical jokes, we know they're set up and followed by a punchline, and these like to commonly use a Q&A.
Oh yeah,
way
I like
to
the Q&A format
to do those.
Yeah,
right. So I mean, I guess the one this one is more the best suited for the month of October, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of pet does Dracula want the most?
Oh, I couldn't even think of it.
A bloodhound.
I was trying to think of something blood related, and I did not think of bloodhound. Damn it!
You didn't think of the existing animal with the word bloodhound.
Yeah, bloodhound just didn't pop into my brain.
Is there like a blood? No, there's like a vampire squid or something, right? Or a little vampire octopus or something like that.
Maybe.
I believe there is. It's red. Anyway, it's in the deep.
Have you seen like the werewolf?
Deep dark ocean.
Have you seen the werewolf cats?
I have not seen the werewolf cats.
They're
what are
awesome.
What are these werewolf cats?
It's just a breed of cat that's kind of like werewolf looking.
So they're cats that turn into wolves on a full moon?
I'll look them up and then send you a photo of them.
All right, while you do that
themselves if they want to, but they're awesome.
Well, look up werewolf cats. While you do that, I will just read the joke that I originally picked, which is, what kind of clothing should you always wear in autumn?
I don't know. What kind?
You should wear a harvest.
Nice.
I know. Because, it's not so cold where you don't necessarily need a full jacket sometimes. So the vest provides warmth for your core, but allows your arms to remain cool. Those cats are... Okay, so Matt's showing me a picture of a werewolf cat. To me, this is going to sound weird, but it looks like a hairless cat
with hair
that had a bunch of hair like glued onto it, and it's all straggly looking. And okay, I see that. It just sort of looks like you took a short-haired cat and just messed up its hair to be sticking out a little bit.
It looks like a cat that's losing its hair.
It just had a bath.
Kind of.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, I'd
they're pretty cool.
I would interact with one of those.
Yeah, they're kind of cute.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's an adorable looking werewolf cat.
It's like Loiki or something like that is the breed. It's Lykoi.
Lykoi?
Yeah, Lykoi. That's the breed.
I mean, with a name like werewolf cat, I imagine it's one of Earth's scariest animals.
I think it's Lykoi because lichen is werewolf.
Okay, so what is the koi part? That's usually fish. Yeah,
catfish.
So
a werefish.
Oh, cat. A werewolf fish.
A werewolf fish. Pretty easy.
A werewolf fish.
Pretty easy to stay away from that. Just
on
a full moon.
Unless you're just like, man, I have to dive. I have to scuba all the time. I have to snorkel.
Didn't you or us or somebody come up with a joke about a warehouse that is?
You are us.
Well, yeah. Okay. Didn't somebody in
our
group?
Are you asking if it was me
was
or
it you or somebody
within
our group that came up with the idea of a warehouse? But it's an actual warehouse all the time. But then on full moons, it becomes like an evil creature warehouse.
Despite my memory being what it is, I'm fairly confident in saying that I didn't come up with that. And I don't know who did. Perhaps it was one of your fest buddies.
Maybe it was something that I thought we came up with, but maybe I just came up with it now.
Look, I need to clear something up. Again, speaking of fest and bringing it back to AON, which is the Apropos of Nothing podcast on which we have been featured.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you checked out their more... Some more of that A. I'm not sure if you checked out their most recent episode, but they talked about how Fest is over, and then James went on to immediately say that Sean and Matt must be very confused right now with what they're talking about. And I want to let them know, I know what the Renaissance Festival is. Yeah. I've been to it. And I have friends who have worked there, you being one of them.
Yeah, I worked there for 9 years.
I've attended the Renaissance Festival several times. I understand what it is, and I understand that it has a beginning and an end. I understand that it's not constantly running. So I know that it at some point ends each year. I'm not confused in any way by what you mean when you say Fest is over.
Yeah,
so I just want to clear that up.
Yeah, the biggest thing about when we were on their podcast, and Fest would come up often because they're all festies.
They're all, yeah.
It wasn't that Sean didn't know what we were talking about. It's just Sean didn't have anything to bring to the table in that discussion of not being like, well, I wouldn't say you don't have anything to bring to the table with that conversation. You just don't have anything to bring to the table as far as working there.
Yeah, I don't have any stories and they may have, I can't remember what we talked about specifically, but they may have gotten into specifics about, we were by this booth, or we were by this location, and this ceremony was going on. I don't know specific details like that. So if that's what was being discussed, yeah, I'm going to be a little confused or not be able to. Oh yeah, of course, that stage you mentioned.
Yeah, you don't know what the narrows are. You don't know what ups and downs is. You don't. Yeah, you're not familiar with the fucking King's Arbor stage.
But I was inappropriately labeled as being completely ignorant to the Renaissance Festival as a whole,
and I even more so, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he just didn't want to have you feel left out. Although, if he would have excluded you from that statement, that would have probably been better for you. that would have shown that he has confidence that you know what the Renaissance Festival is.
Right.
So rant over. I wanted to clear that up. So here we are.
We'll have to go back on their show and me and you will just exclusively, like, I'm going to just give you a download of all sorts of Renaissance information, and then we're going to go on their show, and me and you are going to exclusively talk about Renaissance Festival.
Like, man, if there was some crazy event that happened, 2 meters in between the Narrows and the something that's 2 meters away from it, and boy, oh boy, was that a specific tale that I can tell. Right. I know all about it.
Yeah.
Best. Huzzah! 20 pounds for the king, they say.
That's true. They do say that.
So, see, I know some of my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Flipping festies with their costumes.
And their knowledge.
And their ale. And their ale. And they're complaining about the dust and the heat. And their mead. And their pounds.
Don't get me started on the dust and the heat.
And their giant
turkey legs
pickles.
That are potentially not really turkey.
I don't think they are.
I think it's emu.
Yeah, which seems like, I guess, wouldn't you think those are like protected animals or something?
No.
Something seems a little weird about eating emu leg.
No, the emus are fine. There's a ton of them in Australia.
Okay, so how expensive is that to get those to Minnesota?
There's plenty here too.
Oh, so why Australia specifically? Did you say?
Yeah, we're all good. I'm just saying, like, they're not protected or endangered. They're fine.
In case we run out here, we've got some reserves in Australia.
Yeah, that's where we keep all the reserves.
They're not using them.
Yeah,
those Australians. Good eye, Australia.
No, they tried to get rid of them back in like the 30s. They had a war against emu. The army.
I heard.
Yeah, and they lost.
They lost the war against emus. Yeah, I haven't gone deep into that story, but I do know it exists, and so ridiculous. I'm quite intrigued. Yeah, well, what do you expect? It's Australia. Lots of micronations down there, if you recall.
There was a lot of micronations in Australia, specifically.
Oh yeah, big time. Lots of them.
I just remember about the one you went in depth about. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, well, there's more.
We might have to deep dive into some more micronations.
That'd be I forgot all about that. That'd be a nice little idea sometime. Yeah. Well, but that's not today's agenda, man.
What the F?
There's nothing spooky or scary or
there probably is, but
yeah,
we don't have that information right now.
there are no other similes involved when regarding micronations. So this is the month of October.
Yeah.
We got to talk about spooky stuff. So we got some silly stuff that's been generated by ChatGPT we can get into.
Let's do it.
But I thought
or
maybe a little less funny. I just wanted to get into quickly what is regarded as maybe not necessarily the first, but one of the earliest accounts of an experience with perhaps a ghost or specter. And this was written by, his name is Pliny the Younger. Cool name. This gentleman was around from the years 61 to 113 CE, which is Common Era. So we're talking a long time ago.
Yeah.
He in some of his writings, he discusses his thoughts on the newly emerging religion called Christianity.
Oh shit! And that's a pretty popular one.
It's pretty popular. It's growing, despite what that may be doing to affect the planet. So this, he wrote a letter to someone. It was called Book 7, Letter 27 to Sura. This is a bit lengthy, so I don't have to read it if we don't want to. It's a bit lengthy. Well, but this gives us some insight into what writing was like back then.
Okay.
And this was obviously translated in English. It wasn't originally written. But so this is to someone named Sura.
From the old text.
Yeah. The present recess from business affords you leisure to give and me to receive instruction. I am extremely desirous, therefore, to know your sentiments concerning specters, whether you believe they actually exist and have their own proper shapes and a measure of divinity, or are only the false impressions of a terrified imagination.
So I'm confused, though, because as far as I know, all ghosts or specters are from the Victorian era.
I know. I immediately ran into that too. I know. Well, let's read on. So this is what part of his question was, whether you believe they actually exist and have their own proper shapes and a measure of divinity. So I'm going to skip the first little account. So let's see. To this story, let me add another as remarkable as the former, but attended with circumstances of greater horror. Which I will give you exactly as it was related to me. There was at Athens a large and spacious but ill-reputed and pestilential house. In the dead of night, a noise resembling the clashing of iron was frequently heard, which, if you listened more attentively, sounded like the rattling of fetters. At first it seemed at a distance, but approached nearer by degrees. Immediately afterward, a phantom appeared in the form of an old man, extremely meager and squalid, with a long beard and bristling hair, rattling the gyves on his feet and hands. The poor inhabitants consequently passed sleepless nights under the most dismal terrors imaginable. This, as it broke their rest, threw them into distempers, which, as their horrors of mind increased, proved in the end fatal to their lives. For even in the daytime, though the spectre did not appear, yet the remembrance of it made such a strong impression on their imaginations that it still seemed before their eyes, and their terror remained when the cause of it was gone. By this means the house was at last deserted, as being judged by everybody to be absolutely uninhabitable, so that it was now entirely abandoned to the ghost. However, in hopes that some tenant might be found who was ignorant of this great calamity which attended it, a bill was put up, giving notice that it was either to be let or sold. It happened that Athenodorus, the philosopher, came to Athens at this time, and reading the bill, ascertained the price. The extraordinary cheapness raised his suspicion. Nevertheless, when he heard the whole story, he was so far from being discouraged that he was more strongly inclined to hire it, and, in short, actually did so. When it grew towards evening, he ordered a couch to be prepared for him in the fore part of the house. After calling... Oh, no.
Not the fore part.
A couch. Not in the fore part. The guests will see. And after calling for a light, together with his pen and tablets, he directed all his people to retire within, but that his mind might not, for want of employment, be open to the vain terrors of imaginary noises and apparitions, he applied himself to writing with all his faculties. The first part of the night passed with usual silence. Then began the clanking of iron fetters. However, he neither lifted up his eyes nor laid down his pen, but closed his ears by concentrating his attention. The noise increased and advanced nearer till it seemed at the door, and at last in the chamber.
Oh.
He looked round and saw the apparition exactly as it had been described to him. It stood before him, beckoning with the finger. Athenodorus made a sign with his hand that it should wait a little, and bent again to his writing. But the ghost rattling his chains over his head as he wrote, he looked round and saw it beckoning as before. Upon this he immediately took up his lamp and followed it. The ghost slowly stalked along, as if encumbered with its chains, and having turned into the courtyard of the house, suddenly vanished. Athenodorus, being thus deserted, marked the spot with a handful of grass and leaves. The next day, he went to the magistrates and advised them to order that spot to be dug up. There they found bones, commingled and intertwined with chains, for the body had moldered away by long eyeing in the ground, leaving them bare and corroded by the fetters. The bones were collected and buried at the public expense, and after the ghost was thus duly laid, the house was haunted no more. What do you think?
It's interesting. I mean, it just to me sounds like it's probably like one of the earliest ghost stories written. Like, you know, is it true or is it not true is whatever, but it's kind of an early ghost story, which I'm sure, you know, in these modern times, not super scary by any means, but back then probably terrifying, and people probably just straight up believed it to be true, because why wouldn't they?
It sounds like he was told the story, and I don't remember if it says who told it to him.
Like he was recounting the story.
Right, but it shook him so much that he had to write a letter to someone saying, "Hey, do you believe in ghosts? Because I heard this crazy story about ghosts. What do you think?" So that I thought was interesting enough to tell, because it's, you know, this is going back, you know,
decades.
We always talk decades, a handful at least.
I mean, it's not untrue.
No, you're right. It's a very non-economical unit of measure and of time to add up to figure out how old the story is. But yeah, let's do it. Decades. Why not? So that was
several of decades.
That was Pliny the Younger.
Yeah, I want a cool name like that. I want
Pliny.
Matt the something. You know.
Well, I heard the name Pliny the Younger. I'm like, what a lame name that is.
But it's kind of cool. It's just it's an interesting.
No, but you have
Pliny the Older.
Well, he probably
there was
became
probably
that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there was probably a Pliny the Older, then it's just like a Pliny, and then he was Pliny the Younger.
So it makes me think of when there's like a road, like Old Shakopee Road.
Yeah,
that makes me think like, well, there must have been and then newer Shakopee Road, and then this road was turned into Old Shakopee Road.
Yeah, there's just a Shakopee.
You know what I mean?
There's never going to be a new Shakopee Road. It's just Shakopee Road or Old Shakopee Road.
No, what I mean, but I mean, Old Shakopee Road, I imagine, was originally Shakopee Road, and then they made a new one, and so they had to change the original.
Yeah, I think in some of those situations, like a road situation, it's probably like, all right, this was the original like main road in the town, and then they realized, oh, the placement of this road now with new development is kind of shit for it to be the main road, so we're gonna, you know, redirect traffic to this better route, call that Shakopee Road. Now this is going to be Old Shakopee Road, so it's still got that historic. We're not going to name it a completely different name, so people still know, like, oh yeah, this was kind of the main road in town back in the day. And ghosts, you know.
Yeah, I don't live anywhere near Old Shakopee Road, everyone, so no one come try to find me. All right, now let's get on to some ChatGPT scary stories. So I've made several. We don't have to read them all, of course, but the first one I prompted, tell me a scary ghost story. Simple enough.
Yeah, I appreciate knowing what the prompts were prior to it too, because that'll give me some insight of what ChatGPT really did here.
Yeah. So it responded with, "Of course, here's a spooky ghost story for you."
How polite. Of course. I'd be happy to do this for you.
Here it comes. Put on a diaper in case you get startled easily. In a small, forgotten village nestled deep within a dense, ancient forest, there stood a crumbling, desolate mansion known as Blackwood Manor.
Nice.
The locals spoke of it only in hushed whispers, for they believed the mansion to be cursed. And indeed, it was.
Oh, bury the lead.
The legend... the ChatGPT doesn't know about burying the lead.
Yeah.
I wonder if I said, tell me a scary ghost story and bury the lead.
Yeah. Constantly bury leads.
Yeah.
Bury several leads throughout.
The leads could no longer be found. The townspeople searched for the leads.
Yeah.
Anyway, the legend began over a century ago when the enigmatic Blackwood family had built the mansion. Rumors swirled about their eccentricities and the shadowy rituals they conducted in the dead of night. As the story goes, on a stormy winter's night, the Blackwood family mysteriously vanished, leaving behind a dark cloud of fear that settled over the town.
Oh shit, that's a fog.
It's a dark shadow of fear.
Dark shadowy
A cloud
fog.
of fear. It's a foggy cloud of shadowy fear. Vanishing fear.
I like how they they did a bunch of shadowy, what did it say? Like shadowy rituals or something like that?
Yeah, they did shadowy rituals.
In the dead of night, when, shadows are at their peak.
Shadows, yeah, I know. There's not a lot of non-shadows around. Well, I mean, it would be inaccurate to describe them as shadowy if it was in the middle of the daytime.
Not if they're... No, that's the best time to see shadows.
Yeah, but the rituals themselves probably wouldn't be very shadowy.
They wouldn't be shadowed unless you make sure you shadow them. Like stand in front of the ritual. You stand between it and the sun.
Or you perform them behind a tree.
Yeah.
Within the shadow of some other structure. Ritual. Maybe the mansion itself provided the shadow.
Yeah.
I mean, this doesn't say they didn't perform rituals during the day. They just happened to mention that they did it at night.
Okay.
Over the years, the mansion fell into disrepair. Its once opulent halls now echoing with the howling winds and the cries of unseen entities. Oh. Locals claimed that the ghosts of the Blackwood family roamed the hallways, seeking revenge for their cruel fate. All we know is they vanished.
Yeah.
One fateful night, a group of brave but foolhardy friends from the village decided to investigate the legend. Armed with flashlights and trembling courage, those two things don't seem to go together.
You know how you arm yourself with trembling courage? Hey, let's go do this crazy thing. Yeah. Make sure you bring your trembling courage. Pack that in the backpack.
All the oppositions will flee in fear. They ventured into the heart of the forest. The mansion loomed like a sinister specter in the moonlight, its shattered windows resembling vacant eyes. Ooh. They cautiously entered the mansion, its air heavy with a chilling presence. As they explored the decaying rooms, whispers seemed to emanate from the very walls, urging them to leave. But they pressed on. In the attic, they found an old diary, its pages filled with cryptic symbols and mad ramblings of the Blackwood family. Suddenly, the temperature plummeted, and a spine-tingling wail echoed through the mansion. Terrified, they ran for the exit, only to find the front door slammed shut.
Oh, shit. They didn't hear it?
No, they didn't.
And how did they just saw it shut? They didn't. If they didn't hear it slam shut, they just saw the door was shut. How can they determine it was slammed shut? How do you discover something slammed shut?
Perhaps they.
Perhaps slightly.
Perhaps it was slightly. Look, I don't know.
Only a slamming could have shut this door.
It was a ghost. They were trapped.
This door couldn't shut in any other circumstances but a slam.
I mean, from the attic, who could hear a door slam?
Yeah, but then how can you determine it was slammed shut?
Look, that's how they found it.
Get it together, ChatGPT.
Found it slammed shut. Look, there was many a dust mites kicked up from the floor as a result of the slamming.
Right.
I added that part. That part wasn't in the story.
Mm-hmm.
From the shadows emerged a ghastly figure, a spectral apparition with hollow eyes and outstretched arms. It was the ghost of the Blackwood patriarch, and he spoke of the family's torment and their thirst for vengeance.
Oh, shit. This got old-timey.
The friends were paralyzed. The friends were paralyzed with fear, unable to escape the grasp of the malevolent spirits. Now, there's more than one.
Oh.
The ghostly figure beckoned them to join him to become a part of the cursed Blackwood legacy. As he drew near, a blinding light engulfed the room, and the mansion itself seemed to scream in agony. The apparition dissolved into thin air, and the front door swung open. They witnessed it happen. The friends tumbled out of the mansion, shaken to their core. But alive, the curse had not claimed them, but they had glimpsed the darkness that shrouded Blackwood Manor. From that day on, they never spoke of the mansion, and the village remained abandoned. What? The whole village is... Anyway. As the forest slowly swallowed the cursed mansion, sealing it away forever. To this day, the legends persist, and those who dare to enter the forest can still hear the whispers of the Blackwood family, a grim reminder of the horrors that lie within the decaying walls of Blackwood Manor.
So they went into the house.
Mm-hmm.
They went up to the attic.
Mm-hmm.
They came back down, saw the door had been slammed shut.
Mm-hmm.
A ghostly figure crept towards them with outstretched arms.
Right.
Did he say beckoned them or asked them to be part of the?
He beckoned them. Yeah.
So basically, he's like, "Hey," he's basically asked
hang
them
out with
to
us.
Join. Yeah, asked them to join. They weren't having it. And then suddenly the door opened, like a light came in, the door opened and they left.
Well, because the house seemed to scream in agony. And
But
then the blinding light came in.
It's like they went in there. The guy's just like, "Hey, you want to join us?" They're like, "Nah, no thanks." And then they left. It's basically what the story is.
Kind of, yeah. But, you know, the
like, we should never go back there. He might ask us again.
Right. But
he
the
didn't,
curse
nothing
persists.
bad happened. They just got asked to join.
Well, it was terrifying though.
Apparently,
they didn't know nothing was going to happen. There was a spine-tingling wail that echoed throughout the mansion as the temperature plummeted suddenly.
That could have just been the wind.
Yeah, all the windows were shattered.
Coming in through the windows, it just kind of like made a whistly noise, but it sounded like a wail.
Oh, come on, Matt. That's the cliche. Oh, what was that noise? Oh, it was probably just the wind. All right, let me do this. These are all about as lengthy as that one. And
okay.
So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to read you I'm going to tell you what my prompts are.
Okay.
And you can pick which story you want to hear next.
And you said you hadn't pre-read any of these. You hadn't even pre-read that one?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I haven't pre-read any of these.
I just don't want it's tough because if I pick a bad one, there might be one in there that's great that I just miss out on.
Was that one bad? I don't know. It wasn't. It was particularly hilarious.
No, but you didn't give it you just told it to tell you a scary story. So it
right.
You know.
So this is why I want to just read the other prompts to you, and then you can make a decision. So the next one: tell me the scariest story in the world.
Okay.
Tell me a scary story involving space aliens.
Oh.
Tell me a scary story involving balloons.
Oh.
Tell me a scary story involving ducklings and zombies.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then tell me a scary story involving seahorses and time travel.
I mean, we kind of have to do those last two for sure.
Sure. Okay. Let's do those in order then. Or do you want to just... Yeah. I mean...
But balloons...
So there's scariest story in the world. There's ghost story involving balloons. Scary story involving space aliens. There's the ducklings and zombies, and then there's the seahorses and time travel.
So I'm less interested in the scariest story in the world because I think that'll just be like a more so it's just trying to give you the scariest story. The other ones, it has to work with something.
Yeah, that's
why
I kind of got
more interesting. So I would be down with those last three if we can burn through all three of them.
So the balloons, the ducklings and zombies, and then the seahorses and time travel.
Yeah.
All right, let's go right into it. So tell me a ghost story involving balloons. The Haunting of Balloon House.
Oh, shit.
In a quiet, picturesque neighborhood stood a charming Victorian house. Oh. Victorian. That's what I wanted to do. Known to the locals as the Balloon House.
Of course.
The house was unique because of the colorful balloons that adorned its gate, porch, and front yard. These balloons never deflated, never lost their vibrant hues, and were always neatly arranged, no matter the weather.
They were fake.
Oh, well, the arrangement can still change. It was said that the house was haunted by the spirit of a young girl who had a deep love for balloons during her tragically short life.
Oh.
The story went that a century ago, a girl named Emily lived in the balloon house with her family. She adored balloons and collected them from the local fairs and events. Her room was filled with balloons of all shapes and sizes, and her laughter was often heard as she played among them. Tragically, she fell ill at a very young age and passed away in her beloved home surrounded by her cherished balloons.
Unfortunately, she was allergic to balloons.
Yeah, all shapes and sizes of balloons. Maybe this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. After her death, the house became deserted and slowly fell into disrepair. But a strange thing happened. I know.
What? Like, she was a young child. Why did the house become deserted when she died? Like, the parents are just there's too many balloons in this house that give us memories of her, and we can't dare to get rid of them.
We don't dare pop these balloons. In her honor young Emily, we must always cherish these balloons. After her death, the house became deserted and slowly fell into disrepair. But a strange thing happened. The balloons that Emily had loved so dearly began to appear as if by magic all around the house. So instead of just in her room.
Yeah, weird.
They danced in the wind, creating an enchanting but eerie sight for anyone who passed by. But that's always scary to see. Balloons reacting to the wind by moving back and forth.
But also, earlier in the story, it said the balloons never changed their positioning or whatever, no matter the weather.
It never changed. They were always neatly arranged, no matter the weather.
Okay.
So they didn't get blown about.
Even in the wind, they still stay neatly arranged?
Yeah, but they can move back and forth in reaction to the wind or dance, as I've always liked to call it. But they're not going to get blown out of their position and just get blown around all about.
Gotcha.
And make a mess of the yard, and the fore part of the house.
Yeah, where the couch is.
Where the couch lay. Local children dared each other to enter the yard and take one of the balloons, they soon learned that the balloons had a mind of their own. Those who attempted to steal them found themselves enveloped by balloons. Their bodies lifted into the air until they disappeared without a trace.
What?
I know. Rumors of the balloon house spread, and it became a place of dread for the townsfolk. No one dared approach the property, fearing the vengeful spirit of Emily. Those who lived closest to the house claimed they could hear her laughter in the still of night, mingled with the whispers of the wind.
And the screeching of the balloons.
Yeah, and the squealing of the slowly deflating balloons that never deflated. One dark, stormy night, a paranormal investigator named Sarah decided to spend the night in the balloon house to unravel the mysteries. She brought with her an array of equipment, including cameras, recorders, and even a device to communicate with spirits.
And a needle to pop balloons.
Yeah, to pop troublesome balloons that interfered with her investigation.
What a fuck... What a weird horror movie where you're getting attacked by balloons and you literally just all right, just pop them to get
well, if you don't have anything,
the weakest thing to attack you, it's easy to pop balloons.
Whoa! Let's not. No. I'm not that. But let's not jump around the levels of danger involved here. Okay, let's say you happen to have some sort of piercing device that can pop these balloons. You are getting enveloped by the balloons. which would then make you unable to use your arms to reach for the said object, right?
I suppose.
Theoretically. And you're you're floating up into the air to disappear without a trace. Now, you have such a small window
right,
in which you can remove the object and put it in your hand and pop the balloons enough that you are dropped before you are so high that you drop and you die from the fall.
That's why if you're going to enter that house or yard, you must wear a full suit of needles.
Yeah, send in a hedgehog. If you want.
Oh, yeah. I'd say
send in a porcupine.
Yeah, porcupine would be better. Hedgehogs aren't super sharp.
Look, send in anything that is not human. Sacrifice anything. All right, that's my cue to continue on with the story. Mm-hmm. As Sarah entered the house, she felt a chill run down her spine, but her curiosity drove her forward. The house was filled... I have a curiosity-powered car. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Anyway, the house was filled with a cacophony of whispers and faint laughter, the echoes of Emily's presence. Sarah set up her equipment in the room that had once been Emily's, hoping to make contact with the spirit. Just as the clock struck midnight, the balloons in the room began to quiver and float off the ground, forming a spectral silhouette of a young girl. So we got balloon animals going on now.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because it's balloons of all shapes and sizes. I was like, if this is going to be like a real horror movie or whatever, some of them would be the balloon Emily animals. Shaped. No, they'd be like balloon animals. Like you'd have a dog balloon that would attack you and stuff.
Yeah, I could see that. Let's see. It was Emily's ghost reaching out from the afterlife. She spoke of her love for balloons and how they had become her link to the world of the living. Sarah, filled with both fear and compassion, promised to care for the balloons and make sure they were never harmed. With that assurance, Emily's spirit faded, and the balloons settled back to the floor. All you had to say was, I won't hurt your balloons.
Yeah.
I won't let anyone hurt those balloons, even though the balloons are killing people.
Yeah.
Let's make sure no harm comes to them, the balloons.
I don't know if the balloons specifically themselves are killing people. They're just bringing people up until they can't be seen anymore. The balloons technically aren't killing anybody.
They don't understand that the people need air to live, and so they just take them up. They're trying to give them a good view, of the rest of the house. Oh, have you ever seen the house from above? The balloons would ask.
Yeah.
From that night on, the balloon house was no longer a place of dread. Sarah and the townsfolk made sure the balloons were never disturbed, and the haunting laughter of Emily became a comforting presence, a reminder that even in the afterlife, a love for balloons and a longing for connection could bridge the gap between the living and the dead.
The haunting laughter of Emily became
a comforting presence.
Yeah.
And this was all a valuable lesson for everyone, that the power of balloon love and a longing for connection can bridge the gap between the living and the dead. That's what we've been missing this whole time.
Got it.
We haven't possessed a strong love for balloons enough so that
there's some people
we're able
that
to communicate.
Those lunars
balloon
out
animals
there.
Especially. The lunars? That's what they're called?
Lunars, yeah. People who are super into balloons.
Is that real?
They're called lunars. I am not joking.
Oh. Wow. Why do you know about that?
That's scarier than anything.
Must be a confusing fest thing that someone like me wouldn't understand.
I couldn't tell you when or how this information came to me, but people who are have balloon fetishes are called lunars.
Okay. I'm you know what? I shouldn't be surprised at all that exists.
There are also people who fuck loons.
Those are also called lunars?
Yeah, I would assume.
So is there a certain move you could call the lunar lander?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Now, what if you did that on the moon? That's crazy wordplay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. I had nothing additional to add to that.
Tell me a scary story involving ducklings and zombies.
Yeah, I forgot you also had one about space aliens.
Yeah, I did, but we don't even want me to read that one.
I forgot about it.
Good.
When I said read the other three, but that one was great. Gotcha. I enjoyed balloon horror.
Yeah, I'm hoping since these next two involve two things.
Yeah,
they're a little more interesting too.
It's
a little more wild.
Get fucking nuts,
lunar. This one doesn't give a title or anything. In a quaint riverside town where the cheerful quacks of ducks once filled the air, a sinister darkness loomed. It all began one fateful evening when a mysterious meteorite crashed into the nearby woods. I don't think a meteorite has any cause to be mysterious. Plus, I'm pretty sure astrologists would be well aware of its, course toward Earth.
I mean, I guess the mystery of it is like, what exactly is this rock made of? Could be mysterious.
I'm sorry, did I get it wrong? Which is astrology and which is astronomy? Which one's all about your zodiac sign and all that stuff?
Is
that astrology?
Astrology, yeah.
So then astronomers would know of its course toward Earth.
Yeah.
Not astrologists.
I mean, anyway. You never know.
They might all know.
Yeah, they flip the cards.
Yeah.
They figured it out. They did the tarots.
They play both sides. They
what?
flipped the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, both, yeah, they bad for both teams.
Right.
Yeah. They're all lunars for both. They all bad for both lunar teams. It's space stuff.
Space stuff. You guys wouldn't get it. Space stuff.
Yeah, scary Space Fest.
Oh, Space Fest. That sounds like a cool place to go.
All right. Okay. Mysterious meteorite crashed into the nearby woods, sending shockwaves of energy throughout the area. Unbeknownst to the townsfolk, lots of townsfolk in these stories.
Always unbeknownst.
The meteorite, unbeknownst. The meteorite carried a malevolent force that awakened the dead from their eternal slumber.
Oh, no.
I know, that's bad.
No longer eternal.
I know. It's now temporary slumber?
I guess.
I was trying to see what the opposite of eternal is.
External.
It's outer slumber now. The town was idyllic. Known for its serene riverbanks where mother ducks and their ducklings could often be found, waddling and swimming peacefully. However, the night...
A weird thing for your town to be known for. This town is known for its mother ducks and ducklings all around the riverbanks.
They're waddling. They're so peaceful. They don't make a sound.
Hear that quack?
They don't cause a ruckus. You hear it? Yeah.
Those are ducks.
Well, that quack? That one's a duck too.
Yeah.
You hear it? Oh, yeah. Listen, all the quacks are ducks.
Yeah. Except for that crazy dude.
Except for that untrustworthy doctor.
Yeah. He thinks they're all turtles.
Try to get me to get a vaccine. Okay. Hot button. Let's see. However,
3 years
the night of
hot button.
it's cooled a little bit. It's chilled a little bit.
Chilled. That thing's fucking freezer burnt.
It's almost absolute zero at this point. However, the night of the meteorite's arrival, something unnatural occurred. That
could have been a great title for this story. The night of the meteorite's arrival.
Oh yeah. Well, I can always
I can stop interrupting you.
I can copy it and paste it at the top of the story
to
make
good.
It so. The once cute ducklings began to exhibit strange behaviors. They gathered near the riverbank, quacking in unison, their eyes glazed over with a sinister crimson glow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Finish your sentence. Finish your thoughts. It's it, Matt says.
Yeah.
It wasn't long before the townsfolk realized that something was terribly wrong. The townsfolk were now beknownst.
Oh, no. I wish that was actually in the story. It wasn't long before the townsfolk became beknownst to what was going on. Beknownst to the townfolks. Nobody ever says that. It's always unbeknownst.
I know.
It's never beknownst to the townfolk.
Okay. They realized that something was terribly wrong. The townspeople cautiously approached the ducks, but they were met with a horrifying sight. The ducklings, now transformed into zombified creatures, moved with unnatural speed and aggression. Their quacks had become twisted, nightmarish sounds that sent shivers down the spines of all who heard them. Indeed. As the sun set and darkness enveloped the town, the zombified ducklings began their gruesome assault. They swarmed the streets, biting and infecting any living being they encountered. Those who were bitten soon joined the ranks of the living dead, driven by an insatiable hunger for flesh. Panic spread through the town as survivors barricaded themselves in their homes, armed with whatever weapons they could find. The townspeople had to face the horrifying reality that their once beloved ducklings had become agents of death, and they needed to fight for their lives. Damn, indeed. The town's only hope lay in discovering the source of the curse. A group of survivors embarked on a perilous journey into the dark woods where the meteorite had crashed. As they reached the impact site, they found the meteorite. Appropriate.
Yeah.
Its surface pulsating with an eerie light. It was the source of the malevolent force that had reanimated the dead. Well, it didn't do that, really.
No,
it turned the ducks into...
It did earlier in the story, but then it just kind of like dropped that. Like it said, remember, because
awaken the dead from their eternal slumber.
Yeah, the eternal slumber thing, and then it just talked about duck
zombies. No, it just went to the ducks. The ducks are zombified now.
All the other guys, all the other people are just awake in their coffins 6 feet under, not doing anything.
Hey, man,
sucks.
There's not a lot of room in here. Yeah, can I get a 2-bedroom? Put it in the forefront of the coffin. With great effort, they managed to destroy the meteorite, causing a shock wave that spread through. Yeah, it took a lot of effort, and they don't want to describe it.
Yeah, this kind of just
we got rid of it.
Yeah,
hammered a chisel.
Done.
Done. Destroyed. Causing a shockwave that spread through the town. The zombified ducklings and their victims fell lifeless to the ground, and the curse was broken. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the town was left in a state of devastation. The streets were littered with the remnants of the terrifying night, but the survivors had triumphed over the curse of the zombified ducklings. In the aftermath, the town's riverbanks once again echoed with the cheerful quacks of mother ducks and their ducklings, but the memory of that horrifying night haunted the townspeople, a chilling reminder that even the most innocent of creatures could become harbingers of terror in the face of the supernatural.
This seems like this could have been a 50s or 60s like movie.
Horror
for
movie.
Sure. There was all sorts of like weird creature movies back then of like giant spiders and all sorts of shit. Like this could have totally been a movie. I mean, we talked about the Night of the Lepus, which was all the rabbits that went crazy and started killing people.
Love that story. Or that movie, I mean.
So yeah, this would totally work as like a just old school B horror movie for sure.
All right, so this next one, the final story of the night. Tell me a scary story involving seahorses and time travel. And let me tell you, the title is right on the nose.
Yeah.
The Chronicles of the Time-Traveling Seahorses.
Oh, shit.
I know. Oh, shit, indeed. In a quiet coastal town known for its pristine beaches and crystal clear waters, a mysterious legend was whispered among the locals. It was said that a group of seahorses dwelling in a hidden underwater cave possessed the power of time travel.
Oh, weird.
Many dismissed it as an old fisherman's tale, but a few dared to seek out the truth. A young marine biologist named Dr. Sarah had always been fascinated by the folklore surrounding the seahorses.
Is Sarah her surname or her first name? Like,
it's both.
Dr. Sarah.
It's like Dr. Shakira.
Dr. Shakira.
Okay, where was I? A young marine biologist named Dr. Sarah had always been fascinated by the folklore surrounding the seahorses. She believed there might be a scientific explanation behind the legend.
Of course.
After years of research, she finally discovered the entrance to the mystical cave. Oh, behold!
Going through the entrance.
Behold the entrance to the cave.
I would just love to start pronouncing things like that. Just like,
I was
just over the top of.
Well, reading a story like this, you expect to be saying something like entranced.
Yeah.
Right. So
no, I get why you went there, but I think it would be way funnier just to start speaking like that around people, but just make no acknowledgement of the fact that you're saying things weird. Just be like, oh, go in through the entrance.
So there's the doorway between the break room and our work floor where I work, and people love to just hang out right there and chat where people might want to walk through. So I could say something like, "Please clear the entrance."
Yeah, and people be like, "Sean's so funny. He meows
Sean, so
when
wacky.
He's not doing this. He's meowing at me."
I do that to one person. Entrance to the mystical cave. Yeah, the
exit.
The exit. With diving gear and scientific instruments in tow, she descended into the depths of the ocean to investigate.
So just bland.
Yeah, I've never seen
the bland description.
Yeah, these instruments are scientific by nature. Inside the cave, Dr. Sarah encountered a breathtaking sight. The seahorses, with their shimmering scales and intricate patterns, circled around a mysterious ancient hourglass-like object resting on the ocean floor.
There's nothing more dangerous than a breathtaking sight when you're underwater.
Yes, well,
that's the scariest part of the story so far.
Hopefully, you are adorned with diving gear, as she is.
Yeah, and various scientific
instruments
and equipment.
In tow. The seahorses' tails were entwined with it, and they seemed to be in a deep trance-like state. Carefully, Dr. Sarah approached the hourglass and touched it.
Oh, no.
The moment her fingers made contact, the world around her began to blur and shift. She found herself in a different time, a bygone era when the coastal town was bustling with life. The seahorses now swam beside her, leading her to the town's ancient, overgrown ruins.
So,
wait, what?
Hold on.
This is when the town was bustling with life and there's ancient, overgrown ruins?
Also, she's still underwater. How would she know any of this until she surfaced?
Maybe this is an underwater town.
Oh, yeah. That would explain why there would be some ruins then.
I think she found Atlantis. Oh.
Keep reading.
Snap.
Ooh.
The town, it seemed, was caught in a perpetual loop of the past. Trapped within a never-ending cycle, Dr. Sarah realized that the seahorses were the guardians of this temporal anomaly, and they had the power to manipulate time. They revealed that the hourglass was the key, allowing her to navigate through time and alter the course of history.
It's always dangerous.
You don't want to mess with history.
Yeah.
You want to doctor it up just the way you want it, so it looks favorable to a certain race. Dr. Sarah became fascinated by this newfound power. She spent days, weeks, and even months traveling through time.
I guess that means days, weeks, and months of her time traveling through time,
right? Or the furthest back or forward she decided to go was a few months, maybe. Oh, what's happening in June? Man, I can't wait for June.
Yeah.
Trying to correct past mistakes, save lives, and rewrite history. The seahorses, with their wisdom, guided her through each journey. However, as Dr. Sarah continued to meddle with time, she soon discovered the consequences of her actions.
I can imagine.
The delicate balance of the universe began to unravel, leading to unintended, nightmarish consequences. She encountered parallel timelines filled with chaos, suffering, and destruction, all brought about by her tampering with the past. Desperate to restore order, Dr. Sarah returned to the present and made a difficult decision. She used the hourglass to seal the temporal anomaly, trapping herself in the timeless cave along with the seahorses. In doing so, she prevented further disruptions to the fabric of reality and safeguarded the town's peaceful existence.
But she already went back and changed a bunch of shit, so if she's going back to present time, all that stuff's already been changed.
Yes,
she would have had to go... But she would have had to go back forward to before she meddled with anything and then sealed it.
Correct. At least a few months.
Yeah.
But she sealed it off, so all is restored.
Apparently.
There's more.
Yep.
Dr. Sarah, the keeper of the seahorse's temporal power, continued to live in the cave, studying the unique creatures and the mysterious hourglass. She is now provided with an endless supply of diving gear and oxygen. the legend of the time-traveling seahorses persisted in the coastal town, but now it served as a reminder of the dangers of tampering with time. As the years passed, the townsfolk would occasionally catch glimpses of the shimmering seahorses in the waters, a reminder of the extraordinary power that lay beneath the surface, waiting to be discovered, but now guarded wisely to prevent the cataclysmic consequences of temporal manipulation.
The end of that confused me too much.
Yeah.
Like, how did she have an endless supply of scuba gear and oxygen?
I made that part up.
Oh, okay.
Well, because it said she remains in the cave. So I'm like, well, she just must have, unlimited.
Well, I mean, I'm wondering if the cave, like, there's parts of the cave underwater that are
there could be like a little air pocket.
There's air pockets so she can at least breathe. But I'm more so like, is she just eating raw fish that happen to like come by, or is she eating some of those seahorses?
She's eating seahorses that is giving her fantastical temporal power.
Yeah. I still don't get how her sealing that off stopped anything from happening. Because couldn't she just go back in time to before it was sealed to get out?
If she did that, then it never would have been sealed in the first place.
Yeah, but I mean, you can say that about a lot of things that, like, here's the thing: if she would have ended up going back in time and then sealing it to before she made any of those mistakes, then technically she would have never been able to go. She would have never been alive to do any of that in the first place, right?
I think you're right, but I wasn't listening.
I don't know. It's fine. There's a lot there that we'd have to break down and to really figure out how any of that would work. The beauty of it is it's not real, so we don't have to, and we don't have to do anything.
Let's not jump on. Let's not fully blame Dr. Sarah for all of these calamities. If you recall, the all wise and all knowing seahorses,
they were
guided her through all these journeys.
So it's what they wanted.
So it's almost like maybe they had the desire to cause these ripples,
the calamity
and the calamities, but they maybe weren't allowed because they were bound to some sort of agreement to protect time.
Yeah.
But it did say that they have the ability to travel through time. And so they used the hourglass to do so. But so what were they doing with it?
How much can a seahorse do?
How many months do they go forward or backward?
Yeah. Also, it's seahorses. So yeah, they can go back and forward in time, but they're still kind of stuck in the ocean. There's not much they can really do to change things. It's not like they can be like, oh, let's go back and make sure this like World War II shit never happened.
Yeah.
Well, we're still here. We travel through time, not space, so it's not like we're any closer to Germany anyways.
Well, they could have traveled to a time when the sea level was lower and they were now, beached, and then they could run amok.
Not
beached seahorses run amok.
I don't think they would survive long.
They got all the time they need.
I mean, yeah.
All right. Well, that's what I got, man.
Yeah.
Those are my crazy, terrifying, wacky chat GPT stories.
Yeah, I mean,
what'd you think?
They were definitely interesting. I think my favorite was the ducklings.
You contributed a lot of insightful reaction.
A lot of oohs and ahs.
I can list some examples like oh shit and oh damn and oh shit.
I think there was a damn.
I think there was one of those.
There was one of those.
Yeah. You might have put some forethought into that one.
I took a second.
Stored that one.
Really, I kind of powered that one up.
So this is a cautionary tale. This demonstrates the destructive and terrifying power of AI, and we should be very careful with how we meddle with it. Otherwise, it could take over, and we could all be forced to get vaccinated.
Forced.
Unbeknownst to us.
I want to start using beknownst.
So do I.
I want to start using that and entrance.
Entrance? It was entrance, but you could say entrance too.
Oh yeah, entrance. Yeah. Sorry.
Whatever you want,
Yeah. Like, you're trying to hook up with a lady and you're like, may I, Use your entrance.
May I cross your threshold?
Your threshold?
Yeah. I mean, I already do that.
Right.
So those are the terms I already use. It works every time. Free advice out there, gentlemen. Use those terms. You're in like Flynn.
In like Flynn.
Yep, tasty. Delicious Flynn.
I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm doing.
All right.
I've lost my fucking mind.
Goodbye, everybody. This is terrifying. See you next Tuesday, everybody.
Yeah.
This is terrifying. Terrifying, horrifying, scarifying. See you next Tuesday. Goodbye.
Bye. Yeah.
If you have a question, complaint, or threat for Sean or Matt, you can reach us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at HSFamousPod, or you can email the show at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. No animals were pleasured during the making of this podcast, despite our best efforts. All hail our Lord and Savior.
Space aliens, balloons, ducklings and zombies, seahorses and time travel.